Hello, thank you for joining me today. I am Dr. Ricardo Kotliroff, and we're going to talk about sugar addiction and the benefits of curing it. We don't usually stop to think about what our food contains, but we should. In many of our meals, one ingredient is often in excess. That ingredient can be sinister and addictive, but it is always present in our diet. From breakfast cereals to salad dressing, from bread loaves to the ketchup for your fries, it is both amazing and terrifying how much of it is everywhere. Of course, we're talking about sugar, one of the most consumed food products globally. Its predominance dates from the 70s, when the food industry was forced to replace malicious fats with sugar. The government has approved tough measures against fats because they were once regarded as the sole culprits of obesity and several health problems. In response, large producers in the food industry replaced their taste and nutritional qualities with processed sugar. Since then, sugar consumption has skyrocketed. It is a new drug, and research has shown that sugar can be as addictive as cocaine. What is the mechanism that creates an addiction to sugar? The neurotransmitter dopamine plays a critical factor in all types of addiction, whether it be drugs, alcohol, or even food addiction due to sugar. In the brain is a center we call the reward center, and when you eat processed foods and drinks that are delicious to you because they're full of added sugar, that sugar reaches the brain's reward center and stimulates the cells to release dopamine. As the dopamine released by sugar stimulation binds to its receptor, called dopamine 2, it causes reactions that bombard you with sensations of pleasure and satisfaction. When the reward center of the brain is stimulated too much, it notes that it's excessively stimulated and perceives it as something unfavorable for its survival. As a defense mechanism, and in order to receive less stimulation, the brain reduces and eliminates some of its dopamine 2 receptors. Now, with fewer receptors, there are fewer unions. This survival response generates another problem because you no longer feel the amount of pleasure and satisfaction that was generated at the beginning of your addiction. With fewer unions, there is less pleasure. This is known as tolerance, which means you now need more stimulus to achieve the same feeling of pleasure. This translates into a behavior where you want more and more of what causes the addiction, whether it's sugar or alcohol. With time, the cravings become stronger and force you to increase the amount of food and soft drinks you consume to achieve the sensation of pleasure. This cycle worsens as the addiction progresses, and with it, obesity and its associated diseases worsen. Sugar addiction is responsible for the failure of most diets. Remember that this transformation caused by sugar is identical to the brain transformations observed in drug addicts and alcohol addicts. What can you do? Natural sugar is innocuous and easy to control for the sake of moderation. Our bodies even need a little of it to function. Fruits, vegetables, dairy products, all these components of a healthy diet contain a certain amount of sugar in the form of fructose or lactose. The downside is that much of our food is processed, so it stops being natural and simple sugars are added to prolong shelf life or improve flavor. If it is not fresh or good, we will not buy it or eat it. That's why texture, taste, color, and even all three at once are altered. Candies are made of sugar, but that doesn't mean you won't find them in any supermarket aisle. Many people consume sugar as a regular part of their diet in all countries. You may be one of those people. If you are, you should consider reducing your consumption. But how can we achieve this? First, you need to know what free sugars are. We call carbohydrates that have a sweet taste sugars. All free sugars are monosaccharides, simple sugars, and disaccharides, sugars composed of two monosaccharides, including the refined sugars of sugarcane, beet, and corn, such as glucose, fructose, and sucrose, which is the common sugar. The problem is that manufacturers add free sugars like glucose and fructose to manufactured products and beverages, and so do chefs in restaurants, and we the consumers in the meals we prepare in our homes. Free sugars are present everywhere. Refined foods with added sugars provide calories, but they don't have vitamins, minerals, or fiber. Therefore, added sugar only provides empty calories without any real nutritional value, in addition to a flavor and reaction that makes our brain always crave more by the mechanism explained above. Too much sugar also makes your insulin levels rise, which regulates the internal sugar balance. This causes your metabolism to slow. There's no evidence that sugar consumption in fresh whole fruits and vegetables has adverse effects on health. So the recommendations of the guidelines we will discuss don't apply to this type of sugar known as intrinsic. Below, we will discuss 7 benefits of eliminating excess sugar from your meals and your drinks. The first one is going to help you fight obesity. The survival instinct of our ancestors was focused on high-calorie foods for energy. Fats and sugars are ideal for this. That's why we all love eating them. You can consume a little without doing anything good or bad to the body, but too much can take its toll. The most obvious effect is weight gain. A large amount of energy without enough activity causes your body to store the rest as fat. Most of the free sugar we consume is found in processed and manufactured products such as cakes, cookies, sweet rolls, donuts, thick syrups such as those added to canned fruits, soft drinks, fruit drinks, sports drinks, energy drinks, sweetened tea, sweets, and more. You may have thought that some of these drinks are perfectly healthy, but sugar-sweetened beverages are the main source of sugar in most countries. That means that the more you drink them, the higher your sugar intake, which can put you at risk of gaining weight and becoming obese. The calories that must be consumed daily vary from person to person and depend on many factors such as age, gender, physical activity, and basal metabolism of each person. The scientific evidence gathered by the World Health Organization shows that adults and children who consume less than 10% of daily calories in the form of these free sugars, such as glucose, fructose, and sucrose, are more likely to have a normal weight for height, age, and build. This directly reduces the risk of suffering from associated diseases, such as diabetes or heart disease. A reduction below 5%, that is about 25 grams of sugar per day or 6 teaspoons, would have additional health benefits. Remember that each gram of sugar gives you 4 kilocalories, and to know the amount we consume, we will have to multiply each gram of free sugar by 4 in the food we eat throughout the day. Food labels contain information on the number of calories and the amount of sugar they have. Reading them will help you make healthy choices when grocery shopping. The second benefit of curing sugar addiction is lower blood pressure. Obesity is one of the main risk factors of high blood pressure. This makes your heart and your circulatory system make an excessive effort and the need to work harder. Over time, not only your circulatory system can be damaged, heart disease, heart attack, stroke, kidney damage, arterial damage, and various serious coronary diseases are all linked to high blood pressure. New research is showing that extra sugars in your diet can increase blood pressure, regardless of weight gain. Yes, the weight gain is there, but this adds to it. The third benefit of curing sugar addiction is that it reduces your bad cholesterol levels. In the past, it was often believed that all cholesterol was bad. Since then, we have learned that there are 2 different types of cholesterol in our body, and one of them is certainly bad, but the other is actually very good. HDL, which is the good cholesterol, can be decreased by adding a large amount of sugar to the diet. At the same time, LDL rises, which is the bad cholesterol. More sugar in your diet also increases your blood fats, known as triglycerides. The LDL, the bad cholesterol, and the fats in the blood, the triglycerides, will clog your arteries and blood vessels, increasing the effort that your heart has to do in order to function properly. The fourth benefit is that it decreases the risk of heart attacks. A recent study showed that those with sugar-based diets had a clear increase in having a heart attack. The risk increased in relation to the amount of sugar consumed. Those who consumed less sugar had less to worry about. They tried a very simple idea to reduce sugars: eliminate soft drinks. Whatever your favorite drink is, it has a lot of sugar inside. One study found that consuming 200 milliliters of soft drinks each day may increase the risk of heart failure by 23%. Among the soft drinks studied in the research, we found many of the beverages we listed before. Another study found that women who drank more than 2 servings of sugar-sweetened beverages per day had a 40% increase in the risk of having a heart attack or dying from serious heart disease. But how much should you reduce your intake of sugary drinks? The Scientific Advisory Committee on Nutrition, SACN, in the UK made a statement last summer warning adults to reduce their sugar intake to less than 30 grams of sugar per day. That's less than a single can of Coca-Cola, which contains 35 grams of sugar. Eliminating sugar from the diet would help eliminate the need to take that warning seriously. Another benefit of curing sugar addiction is that it sharpens your mind. We all know that sugary drinks can erode your teeth. What is less known is that your brain's energy is also affected. Research shows that eating too much sugar can cause your brain to slow down and reduce the proteins needed for memory and responsiveness. This means that you would think slower, and you would have more difficulty remembering things if you eat too much sugar. In a more scientific study, rats that were given an increase in sugar were slower and showed less activity in their brains than those who were given a normal diet. A high sugar intake is associated with the metabolic syndrome, a group of diseases associated not only with reduced cognitive function, but also changes in brain structure. Another benefit you'll get from curing your sugar addiction is that it reduces your chances of suffering Alzheimer's and dementia. Worldwide, there are about 50 million people with Alzheimer's, and it is projected to increase to more than 125 million by 2050. A high sugar diet reduces the production of certain chemicals known as brain-derived neurotrophic factors. These substances help the brain to form new memories and to remember the past, as we mentioned before. Neurotrophic factor levels derived from the brain are particularly low in people with impaired glucose metabolism or in pre-diabetic people. These low levels have been related to the most serious dementia or Alzheimer cases. Another benefit of curing sugar addiction is that you are less likely to suffer from depression. Again, this is another point against all drinks with added sugar. Another study showed that older adults who drank more than 4 servings of soft drinks a day were 30% more likely to be diagnosed with depression than those who drank unsweetened water, coffee, or tea. Soft drinks are loaded with sugar, and there are other things that can have it too, but unsweetened soft drinks make a huge difference. The brain needs a constant chemical supply in a delicate balance, including glucose and insulin. When sugars enter the body, insulin opens the cells for sugars to enter. However, when the body and brain have continuous sugar peaks in the blood due to a sugar diet, the body becomes insensitive to insulin, and insulin becomes less effective. Just as seeing a lot of violence on television makes you more insensitive to the violence around you, the body becomes less receptive to insulin when sugar is always present. This changes your brain chemistry and can lead to serious depression and anxiety. Another benefit that you will get by curing your sugar addiction is that it reduces the risk of certain cancers. Do you know which things love sweets? Cancer cells. Yes, cancer cells. The studies carried out on this are not yet complete or conclusive, but some research suggests that excess sugar contributes to an increased risk of certain cancers. Yes, sugar can even put you at risk of developing cancer. What makes sugar do this? We will see some examples by means of which we will explain the relationship between sugar and cancer that are produced by interactions such as sugar and insulin, sugar and hormonal changes, the role of sugar providing energy to the cancer cell, and the relationship between sugar and catenin protein. When you consume sugars, your body produces insulin to control your blood sugar levels. But overloading the body with sugar can cause problems with the regulation of pancreatic insulin. This overload leads to an increase in insulin production that has been linked, in some cases, to the development of pancreatic cancer. Pancreas cancerous cells love sugar. In addition, healthy cells and cancer cells make use of the hormone insulin to grow. So the more sugar you get, the more insulin you have, and the more you grow. The more the cancer spreads and multiplies. Researchers at the Harvard Medical School Cancer Center found that 80% of all cancers mutate and mimic the effect of insulin. This may be part of the reason that cancer and diabetes rates seem to increase at the same rate. As a result of this knowledge, the development of an insulin inhibitor is investigated for use in cancer treatment protocols, and there are investigations where it was observed that experimental mammary tumors regress in the absence of insulin. Excessive sugar intake leads to obesity that can cause many changes in your hormone levels, such as the sex hormones, estrogens, and progesterone. Although these hormones fulfill essential physiological roles in both women and men, they have also been associated with an increased risk of certain cancers. For example, long-term exposure or high concentrations of these hormones have been linked to an increased risk of breast cancer. In addition, an important correlation between mortality from breast cancer and sugar consumption was found in older women. A woman's hormone balance also plays a part in the development of most endometrial cancers. Many of the risk factors for endometrial cancer affect estrogen levels. Before menopause occurs, the ovaries are the main source of the two main types of female hormones, estrogen and progesterone. The balance of these hormones varies during the menstrual cycle of every woman every month. This produces monthly menstruation in women, keeping the endometrium healthy. A change in the balance of these hormones towards a higher production of estrogen increases the risk of endometrial cancer. The relationship between colon cancer and hormonal environment was a theory postulated in 1969 by Frau Manni, who described that in nuns there is not only a higher incidence of breast carcinoma and endometrium carcinoma, but also that colorectal carcinoma is more frequent. In the 80s, McMichael and Potter studied the issue and suggested that hormonal changes in pregnancy protect women from this neoplasm, finding a lower incidence in women that have had multiple deliveries and in those women who have had their first pregnancy at younger ages. Some groups have questioned the relationship between exogenous hormonal factors such as the use of oral contraceptives and colon carcinoma, but to date there are no conclusive studies, as some speak of a decrease in its incidence, while others don't observe important changes. Cancer caused by sugar levels can also be formed, regardless of hormonal causes. It is known that cancerous tumors have a higher uptake and use of sugars. In normal cells, mitochondria are the organelles or cellular structures responsible for supplying much of the necessary energy for cellular activity, as glucose is oxidized in the presence of oxygen within the mitochondria and ATP is produced, which is used as an energy source through the cell. The mitochondria also control other processes, among which apoptosis is found, also known as programmed cell death, which regulates the process by which a cell commits suicide when they have some kind of problem or mutation that could compromise the body. A cancerous cell is obviously not interested in this function. Therefore, the tumor cell, unlike the normal one, changes its way of obtaining energy, as the fermentation or oxidation process of glucose occurs in a structure that we call the cell's cytosol, and not in the mitochondria, which can only work in the presence of oxygen. The waste products of that fermentative process of glucose in the cytosol are two chemical components, which are known as pyruvate and lactic acid. Huge amounts of glucose are required for the cell to get the same amount of energy through glycolysis as with the common respiratory process in the mitochondria. Peculiar phenomenon is known as the Warburg effect. What are the implications of this cancer cell strategy on tumor survival and the creation of metastasis? Oxygen is a potent growth inhibitor, and in situations of lack of oxygen or hypoxia, the growth factor is secreted by hypoxia or HIF-1 alpha, which triggers cell proliferation. Therefore, functioning and obtaining oxygen-free energy by means of glucose allows cancer cells to reproduce rapidly. Discarded lactic acid elevates the pH that surrounds the tumor, dissolves the healthy cell's membranes, and acts as an apoptosis activator, programs suicide of said healthy cells, which allows the tumor to have more room to grow. Another important advantage is that lactate surrounds cancer cells with an acidic shield that acts as a barrier against the cells of the immune system, especially the NK cells, also known as natural killers, which are powerful lymphocytes that dedicate to neutralize cancer cells, among other tasks. With the blocked immune system, with the neighboring murdered healthy cells, with its tendency to reproduce due to HIF-1 alpha triggered by hypoxia, lack of oxygen, with the deactivated mitochondria and with it the cell turned immortal, we have an exponential cancerous cell development and a sure cancer diagnosis. When any of those cells protected by lactate reaches the blood or lymphatic system, it will travel through them to another organ where the tumor will form a new colony and it will do a metastasis. In summary, this anaerobic glycolysis without oxygen is behind the exponential growth of tumor cells, with high rates of glucose consumption and production of lactic acid that leads to cellular acidosis that protects and allows the development and metastasis of cancer. Another mechanism related to sugar is the one described by researchers at Rey Juan Carlos University, as they saw that catenin, which is a protein involved in the formation and growth rate of cancer cells, only depends on blood sugar levels. More sugar leads to more catenin and an accelerated development of cancer. Many experts claim that more than half of the cancers that are diagnosed can be completely prevented. If you eliminate refined sugars from your daily meal plan, you can take a big step to prevent that problem. Another benefit of curing sugar addiction is that it reduces your chances of suffering from diabetes mellitus. The consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages has increased in recent decades. Many people know that sugar intake is related to diabetes, but they don't know why. Evidence suggests that sugar intake that interferes with insulin levels causes diabetes. One study studied this connection in women and found that those who drank 1 or more servings a day of sugary soft drinks were twice as likely to develop type 2 diabetes. Due to the role of insulin in the development of cancer and diabetes, the two are usually related. Another benefit of curing sugar addiction is that it reduces your risk of gout. A study carried out on women found that consuming a can of sugary drinks a day can increase the risk of suffering gout by 75% when compared to those who rarely consumed them. Gout is a disease that affects the metabolism of uric acid and causes arthritis and acute pain in smaller joints, such as those in the feet. A similar risk relationship has been established in men. Another benefit of curing sugar addiction is that it reduces the risk of fatty liver disease. Eating too much sugar can also affect the liver. Sugars like fructose can accumulate in the liver, causing it to turn them into fat. Though part of the fat is transformed into waste or moved to another place, part of it remains in the liver. The accumulation of this fat can lead to the appearance of non-alcoholic fatty steatosis, which causes inflammation and scarring of the liver, liver failure, and can also cause cancer. Thank you for your time. If the knowledge provided in these videos enriched and formed the basis for the recovery of your joy, well-being, and quality of life, we have reached our humble goal to help as many human beings in the fight against disease and in the recovery of health and life expectancy. This is the light and the force that guides us. Whoever saves a life saves the whole world. I present Miranda, part of our team, who will explain our treatment program for sugar addiction. See you soon, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ricardo Kotliroff, for your excellent explanations of this terrible disease that affects millions of people all over the world. When we began, Dr. Kotliroff was able to treat persons with diseases by using acupuncture, which had amazing results. However, there was a problem. Only those who lived close to the clinic at the time were able to be part of these fantastic treatments. Patients from all over began to hear of Dr. Kotliroff's success and wanted to experience these results themselves. They asked that more clinics be opened in other locations, but this unfortunately wasn't possible. So to solve this problem, Dr. Kotliroff began to develop homeopathy-based remedies that were based on acupuncture's principles and went on to make these treatments available worldwide. Since then, Premilife's remedies can help patients in any part of the world. These remedies can be ordered online and are then delivered right to the patient's home. Our treatment method allows us to prepare our remedy based on the diagnosis that we receive, which means that once you have been professionally diagnosed, you can then order our treatment based on the illness that you are diagnosed with. Now, I'd like to invite you personally to be part of Premilife's success and join all the thousands of patients worldwide who are already finding great improvement in their condition using our remedies. Our reason for doing this is very simple. When we cure someone and we see their relief and joy when they realize that their symptoms have been ended or slowed, we feel good inside. We feel proud, satisfied, and happy for them. Genuinely happy. You may know this saying, the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Every person has a purpose in life, whether it's teaching, leading, or empowering. I believe that our purpose here at Premilife is to help people get over their illnesses, letting them lead healthy, long, and comfortable lives. Premilife wants to be your partner in managing your diseases. Since our founding in 1980, Premilife has dedicated decades to helping patients throughout the world experience gradual improvement of diseases via homeopathy. Our homeopathic treatments are manufactured under strict quality guidelines for healthcare from the World Health Organizations. Premilife's unique homeopathic treatment is specifically designed and formulated to assist you in managing your disease. The different ingredients in each pill increase your likelihood of success. You can take our homeopathic medicine with any conventional medicine that you might be using. By ordering through Premilife, you get consistently high-quality homeopathic treatments based on the latest advancements in our field, natural remedies, unique and proprietary formulas, and direct hands-on experience treating patients the world over since 1980. Now that you understand what our treatments are and what they can do for you, I want to answer a common question. Is there any recommended time period for treatment? We strongly recommend that patients commit to a program of at least 6 months, although longer programs, 12 to 24 months, may even offer greater effectiveness. The duration patients participate in our program often will depend on the severity of the patient's illness and the improvements that are realized. Premilife continually monitors each patient's progress and will optimize his or her treatment protocol as needed. If you are interested, I would like to ask you to click the button located under this video and join thousands of satisfied customers who are grateful each day for choosing the Premilife treatment and have embarked on a new life. I will be very happy if you give us a chance to help you too. It's time to do something for yourself so you can do more and be more for the people and family you love. You deserve this, and so do they. Let's get started right now. Don't let this become a secondary priority. Just click the Get Started button and you'll be on your way to enjoying a happier and healthier life. click that button now and order the homeopathic treatment. If this video has enlightened you, don't forget to share it with your friends. I want to thank you, viewers, for taking your time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it.